Meet Qin Feng, your average corporate slave grinding through life. Just another morning commute, what could go wrong? But then some guy shoves him out of the way, and he goes flying straight into a woman's chest. That woman had a boyfriend, and our boy knows he's absolutely cooked. The punch connects and sends him flying. He stumbles backwards toward the street, and gets absolutely destroyed by the incoming car. Death by accidental motorboating, what a way to go. But here's where it gets interesting. Our boy wakes up reincarnated in a mysterious cultivation world called Huanggu, and the moment he kicks his twin brother, a system notification pops up saying he earned villain points. Turns out his brother is the chosen one, the protagonist of this world, and anyone near a protagonist usually suffers. So Qin Feng decides he needs to cultivate hard to survive whatever disaster his brother will bring. Now let me introduce the family. His mother is the Saintess of Mount Taibai, and she's absolutely gorgeous. The Qin family has this secret magic liquid that gives babies a massive cultivation boost from birth. Just one bowl is worth more than a hotel suite, so our protagonist is living the good life already. As for his father Qin Tian, the head of the family, well, Qin Feng would rather not talk about him. But now for the main event. Our protagonist is ready to show off his abilities. The Great Emperor ability Halo activates, giving him a tenfold bonus on all attributes and a divine level technique. Everyone watching is absolutely stunned, calling him Heaven's peerless pride, the greatest genius they've ever seen. His father couldn't be more proud, but Qin Feng is thinking these people are way too noisy. So what does he do when he's annoyed? Beats up his brother to calm down, obviously. He explains to his crying brother that they're fated to be enemies, the chosen one versus the destined villain, so this is just business. Every time he smacks the chosen one, he gets villain points, and our boy is absolutely loving this system. 3 years pass in the womb because in this cultivation world they delayed the birth by 100 years, and Qin Feng has been farming villain points the entire time. Now it's finally time for his birth, and his poor brother looks absolutely traumatized. The mother goes into labor with the maids cheering her on. Meanwhile, the father is pacing outside like a nervous wreck, and then the first cry echoes through the room. The father bursts in shouting that his son Qin Feng has been born. The maid presents the baby to the ecstatic father, but Qin Feng takes one look at his dad's face and immediately thinks, ugh, so ugly. I hope I don't look like him. He starts hitting his father, and the system rewards him 2 villain points for damaging their father-son relationship. But wait, only 2 points. The system explains that villain points are based on difficulty, and apparently insulting your dad is easy mode. So Qin Feng decides to go all out, attacking his father who just thinks his son is energetic. The dad just keeps praising him, saying he has the talent of a great emperor. But then the midwife drops a bomb. There's another one still inside. It's twins. The midwife gets to work trying to deliver the second child, but apparently the second child is unwilling to come out for the time being. Qin Feng is furious while still assaulting his father. What do you mean unwilling to come out? He rants about this ridiculous fantasy world logic. How can he farm big villain points if his brother won't even be born? The maid finally offers to take the baby so the father can recover. She tries to get him to eat, but he refuses, too busy demanding his brother come out. He screams for his damn brother to come out, and suddenly the system awards him 50 villain points for completing the Cushion of Love task. Wait, 50 points just for that? Our protagonist is genuinely shocked. Turns out being held against a beautiful woman counts as a villain achievement in this world. And that's when Qin Feng realizes, is this the joy of being the villain? Over at the Qin family's garden, our protagonist is living his best toddler life. And what's this game? All the maids are calling out to him like he's the main character of a harem anime. Our boy is blindfolded and chasing after Sister Zhu Yun, who by the way is absolutely gorgeous. And he catches her, because of course our protagonist never loses at anything. He tells her she lost, and the system rewards him 200 villain points for completing a gentleman mission. Now Qin Feng is thinking this should be enough points to do something big. His status shows over 30,000 villain points saved up, and he's at the 9th stage of Qi and Blood realm. In this world, cultivation goes from Qi and Blood all the way up to Ethereal. With 9 stages each, our protagonist starts channeling his energy, and things are about to get intense. He declares it's time to break through to the commencement realm, and the power starts exploding. And just like that, our 3-year-old has reached the commencement realm like it's nothing. Everyone's confused about what just happened, including Qin Feng, who probably overdid it. But he quickly recovers by asking Sister Biu for hugs because villain points wait for no man. And Sister Biu happily agrees because how could she say no to such an adorable young master? Our boy goes straight for the kiss and gets 50 villain points for completing Love's Kiss. The maids tell him he can't just kiss girls whenever he wants, but they excuse it because he's only 3. Qin Feng plays along saying that's right, a 3-year-old couldn't possibly understand such things. Then he asks to sleep with Sister Biu and she agrees because our protagonist is speedrunning the harem route. Meanwhile, at the Great Xia dynasty, the emperor is being all lovey-dovey with his consort, but then he senses something and immediately demands to know who just had a breakthrough. He releases his spiritual consciousness, and this man is absolutely radiating main villain energy. He identifies the source as the gifted son of the Qin family, meaning our boy just got on the radar. The Emperor declares that a kid reaching commencement realm at age 3 cannot be allowed to remain alive, but back at the Qin family, the maids are enjoying the women's bathhouse and looking absolutely stunning. And who's peeking through the door? Our protagonist earns 100 points for another gentleman's mission. He insists he'd never peek if not for the system missions, and then a new quest appears to tease Bayu while she washes. He's outraged, asking who the system thinks he is. But then another mission offers 500 points to bathe with Zhuyu. And just like that, our protagonist says, let's go, and starts stripping down without hesitation. He jumps right into the bath with Sister Biu, who looks completely caught off guard. She's startled and splashes him, but the system still gives him 200 points for the gentleman's mission. He then asks Sister Zhuyu if he can bathe with her, and she hesitates because she knows something's off. But the blonde maid says of course he can, and offers to help undress him like it's totally normal. All the maids agree that he's just a 3-year-old child, so what could he possibly know? And our protagonist is absolutely loving this, thinking to himself that being a villain is the life. Later, Qin Feng checks the system shop for a skill called Unconstrained Phantom because his brother should be coming soon. He starts training, saying as a wolf you need strong teeth, and as a sheep you need strong legs. Since his brother is Heaven's chosen one, Qin Feng decides he'll become the fastest man in the entire realm. That way when things go wrong, he can immediately run away. And honestly, that's solid villain planning. Our boy is laughing maniacally at his own genius escape strategy like a true villain. 3 days pass and a heavenly sign appears, making Qin Feng wonder if his bastard brother is finally being born. But then he senses something dangerous approaching, and his expression immediately changes. A purple energy blast comes flying at him, and our boy has to dodge at full speed. He looks up to see multiple powerful cultivators floating in the sky and realizes they came for him. 2 elders start arguing about whether to start a fight, and things are about to get very messy. The cultivators are still hovering in the sky, and one of them calls out to our boy. The Emperor himself asks if this is the eldest son of the Qin family, but Qin Feng is already using his movement technique to evade, catching everyone off guard. The Emperor immediately notices that this kid's movement speed is way too fast for his age. He's thinking it's already unheard of for a 3-year-old to reach commencement stage, but mastering a movement technique too. The Qin family elder quickly steps in to smooth things over, saying children are just shy around strangers. The Emperor laughs it off and says no worries, but you can tell he's still suspicious. And then our protagonist walks up and asks if he's really the Emperor, putting on his best innocent act. Qin Feng goes full fanboy mode, showering the Emperor with every compliment imaginable like wise, noble, fearless, and unmatched. And the Emperor absolutely eats it up, laughing like he's never been flattered before. But then our boy hits him with the real question, asking if such a noble Emperor would come to someone's house as a guest empty-handed. And the Emperor's face immediately changes because he definitely came here to kill, not to bring gifts. Qin Feng keeps pressing, asking if the dignified Emperor of Great Xia really showed up with nothing. The Qin family elders are trying so hard not to laugh at this man getting hustled by a toddler, so the Emperor reluctantly pulls out a small box containing something he clearly didn't want to share. And it's the legendary vast Sky 9 swords, divine weapons used by a sword god 10,000 years ago. Each sword is a rare divine weapon, and combining all 9 creates one of the top 10 weapons in existence. Qin Feng is looking at these legendary swords with wide eyes, already planning his next move. The Emperor asks how's that, clearly proud of his treasure collection. But internally he's struggling because he spent so much time and resources collecting all 9 swords. He decides he'll just close his eyes and pick one sword to give away, even though it pains him. But before he can decide, Qin Feng straight up snatches the entire box right out of his hands, and our protagonist happily thanks the Emperor for giving him all 9 swords like it was the plan all along. He's thinking, you came here to mess with me, so be prepared to get messed with right back. The Emperor tries to explain what he actually meant, but Qin Feng keeps playing innocent. The Qin family elders immediately start praising the Emperor for being so generous with his gift. They keep piling it on, saying it would be insulting to even talk about material things with someone as wealthy as him. And now they're pledging that the Qin family will follow the Emperor's lead from now on. Qin Feng's father plays along, telling his son to kowtow and show proper gratitude, and the system rewards him with 1,000 villain points for openly robbing the Emperor of his legendary swords. The Emperor is seething internally, muttering that this whole family is working together to scam him. But Qin Feng isn't done yet, asking if the Emperor knows the rule about elders giving gifts when meeting juniors, and the Qin family elders immediately back him up, confirming that yes, that's definitely a real tradition. The Emperor is absolutely losing it, wishing he had just stayed home with his consort instead of dealing with this brat. Qin Feng gasps dramatically, asking if the great Emperor is really unable to give his junior a gift. So the Emperor reluctantly reaches for something on his belt, already regretting this entire visit. He hands over the Tianbao gourd, a heavenly treasure, and Qin Feng's eyes light up immediately. This gourd can increase cultivation speed, solidify your base, and regenerate energy in battle. Not bad at all. Our protagonist thanks the Emperor while thinking this old man is actually pretty generous when pressured. The system gives him another 1,000 points for taking the Tianbao gourd, and this hustle is going perfectly. Kyun Feng starts wondering what else he can get, and the emperor is already dreading whatever comes next. Then our boy mentions that he has a younger brother who's about to be born, and the emperor immediately starts fake coughing, saying he suddenly has urgent matters to attend to. This man literally flies away at top speed just to escape getting scammed again by a 3-year-old. Kyun Feng waves goodbye, shouting that he'll bring his little brother to visit sometime. And just like that, the emperor vanishes into the distance, completely cleaned out by the Qin family. But now Qin Feng's own father is trying to take the swords, saying he'll keep them safe for his son. Our protagonist immediately starts fake crying, accusing his father of stealing his treasures, and the father's face says it all because he definitely just got caught trying to pocket those divine weapons. The elder immediately starts scolding him, asking how he could dare rob his own son's treasure. Grandpa snatches the box back and returns it to Qin Feng, telling him not to cry. Our protagonist happily accepts the treasures back, still keeping up his innocent act. But of course those tears were completely fake. This kid is playing everyone like a fiddle. Suddenly the sky darkens with lightning, and Qin Feng wonders what's happening now. A massive fire phoenix descends from the heavens toward the Qin family estate. The father suddenly remembers that his wife Siwei is still in the middle of giving birth right now. He takes off running, cursing himself for completely forgetting about such an important moment. And Qin Feng's expression shifts because his foolish little brother is finally here after 3 long years of waiting. They arrive at the room where the new baby has just been delivered. And there he is, the heaven's chosen one himself, looking surprisingly calm for a newborn. The father proudly holds his new son while Qin Feng lurks in the background with dark energy. Kyun Feng calls out to his father, already plotting his next move against his new rival. The father introduces him to his little brother Wooer, and our protagonist puts on his best big brother face. Kyun Feng asks why the baby isn't crying, wondering if something might be wrong with him. So our protagonist does what any concerned older brother would do and slaps the baby's butt. The baby immediately starts wailing, and the father looks completely shocked at what just happened. He demands to know how Qin Feng could hit his own little brother like that. But Qin Feng plays innocent again, saying he was just worried something might be wrong with the baby. The system rewards him with 100 villain points just for slapping the heaven's chosen one's butt. But that's nothing compared to the 30,000 points he gets for making his brother cry and disperse his innate ancestral energy. Back in his room, our protagonist is checking his stats and noticing his cultivation speed has hit a wall. First stage of Enlightenment Realm with 32,000 villain points saved up but not enough to upgrade. But now that his foolish little brother has finally been born, villain points will never be a problem again. So he spins the wheel to see what kind of reward he can pull this time. And it lands on the heaven-slaying sword technique, which sounds absolutely broken. The technique floods his mind with visions of devastating sword arts, moves that could cut through anything standing in his way. The power surges through him as he absorbs every bit of the technique. Our boy opens his eyes and immediately recognizes how formidable this sword technique really is. Now he just needs to hurry up and practice it to unlock its full potential. So he drops 30,000 villain points on a month's worth of comprehension aura to speed up the process. 1 month later, grandfather shows up wanting to spend some quality time with his great-grandson. He heard our protagonist has been practicing swordsmanship and wants to offer some guidance. But Qin Feng is thinking it would be more useful to just borrow his brother's butt for a couple days. Grandfather starts lecturing about how cultivators must be mindful and avoid arrogance. Then he decides to demonstrate his own techniques with a dramatic display of power. Stone pillars rise from the ground as green energy swirls around them. He explains this is the first stage of a heaven-level martial art called Swirl of the Falling Leaves that took him over a decade to master. Qin Feng watches with the most unimpressed expression you've ever seen. He casually flicks some leaves that slice clean through a tree branch without even trying. Our protagonist is thinking, wait, that trick requires over a decade of hard work to learn. Fast forward 5 years and both brothers are doing their cultivation training. And suddenly someone starts breaking through to a new realm with explosive force. The breakthrough is so powerful it literally blows the roof off the building. At age 5, Qin Hao hit the 5th level, and at age 8 Qin Feng reached the Transcension realm, and the elders are losing their minds. Our protagonist emerges looking considerably more grown up and immediately asks where his brother is. The father just sighs because these kids destroy the house every single year, and being their parent is exhausting. But then the system drops a bombshell quest to take his brother's supreme bone, and our boy literally spits blood from shock. He keeps asking the system if it's broken because this mission sounds absolutely insane. The system calmly explains that the supreme bone can be broken and will grow back anew. But something about this whole thing still feels way too extreme. He announces that he needs some silence to think this through properly. But his father and grandfather are completely lost, asking why he suddenly needs to find someone named Jingjing. Meanwhile, the Heaven's Chosen One himself is peacefully napping in a tree without a care in the world. And of course our protagonist finds him almost immediately. That sinister smile says everything about what he's planning to do next. He snatches his little brother right out of the tree without any warning. He starts monologuing about how he originally just wanted to be a playboy living in luxury, but because of this insignificant little brother, he has to actually work hard and cultivate. He dramatically declares that maybe this is just his fate in life. But then his adorable little brother asks if they can sneak outside and go play together. Qin Feng looks at him and asks play, and his brother nods enthusiastically. And just like that, the villain arc gets put on hold because our boy says alright. Cut to downtown where someone is dramatically crying over their supposedly dead father. The townspeople are watching and commenting about how harsh life can be for such cute children. And of course the sympathy money starts pouring in from everyone watching. Little Chin Hao is counting up 73 coins and suggests they go eat something good. Our protagonist offers to treat him to some stir-fried beef and bamboo shoots. What the little brother doesn't know is that bamboo shoots means getting beat with a stick. Qin Hao innocently declares it will be his favorite dish while our protagonist laughs ominously. But then the supposedly dead father suddenly sits up and everyone starts screaming that he came back to life. The man is completely confused, asking when exactly he died in the first place. He just shrugs it off, saying he's hungry and walks away to go beg for food. And that's when their real father shows up and starts whooping Qin Hao for running a funeral scam. Little brother immediately throws Qin Feng under the bus, saying it was all his idea, earning our protagonist 200 villain points. Qin Hao begs for mercy, saying he's still young and should be let off this time. But their father declares that a parent disciplining their child is perfectly justifiable. The little brother screams that he hates his stupid dad the most in the whole world. And here comes Big Brother to comfort him, saying don't cry, making Qin Hao think he's the best. Our protagonist smirks because a childhood without some stir-fried beef and bamboo shoots just isn't complete. And here we see the aftermath of that bamboo shoot special. Qin Hao's backside looking absolutely destroyed. But here comes Big Brother to the rescue, applying medicine while muttering about how his whole life's happiness rests on this butt. Little Qin Hao is absolutely touched, telling his big brother how good he is to him. Qin Feng pats his head like the caring older brother he definitely isn't actually being. Because after all, Little Hao is heaven's chosen one, and that means he's basically a walking villain point farm. The little brother starts complaining about how stupid dad only knows how to beat him. And that's when our protagonist sees an opportunity, telling him he has a plan to help get revenge. He pretends to hesitate, saying that he is their father after all. Qin Hao immediately promises he absolutely won't sell his brother out, and Qin Feng sighs that's not what he meant. But then he dramatically clasps his hands together and agrees to share the secret, which is exactly what he meant. He tells him that dad has a secret stash hidden somewhere, and if mother were to find out about it, the little brother's eyes light up as he declares he understands the mission completely. Cut to the secret stash being discovered. Multiple pots overflowing with gold coins hidden in the forest. Mother is absolutely furious, grabbing father's head and demanding to know how long he planned to keep her in the dark. Father's face goes pale as he realizes exactly who snitched on him. He screams about that traitorous son, clearly deciding he didn't hit him enough the first time. And now we've got a full-speed chase happening through the courtyard with father wielding a feather duster. Qin Hao runs straight to his big brother for protection, gasping for air. But father catches up and grabs him by the collar, asking if he wants to try running again. The little brother wails as he gets another round of discipline while our protagonist watches fondly, thinking about his poor little brother. And there it is. The system confirms he framed heaven's chosen one and awards him 200 villain points. Meanwhile that night, mother is looking absolutely stunning while calling out to her darling husband. Outside the room, little Qin Hao innocently asks big brother why dad is holding down mom. Our protagonist answers with the most deadpan expression possible that they're just training. And then Qin Hao gets an idea, wondering if he interrupts dad's training, maybe dad won't have energy to hit him. Qin Feng hesitates because the villain points are tempting, but if this gets interrupted then there might be consequences. But the little brother takes his silence as approval and cheerfully announces he's going in. Our protagonist's face drops as he realizes what's about to happen and desperately reaches out to stop him. But it's too late as Qin Hao bursts in calling for father while dad looks absolutely horrified. Even the family's pet bird is looking confused about what just happened. Qin Feng can only grimace as he watches the absolute disaster unfold before his eyes. But then the system starts going crazy, rewarding 200 points for framing and 500 for causing a violent beating. The rewards keep stacking, 500 for butt bloom and 1,000 for pain penetrating the soul, as our protagonist reasons that discipline is educational. Fast forward half a month, and Qin Feng is lounging around complaining about not earning any villain points since his brother's butt hasn't healed. But then something catches his attention as he looks up at the sky with surprise. A massive flying beast comes soaring through the clouds carrying what looks like an elaborate carriage. On top sits a blue-haired swordsman while a cute green-haired girl peeks out from inside the carriage. Our protagonist wonders what the Lin family from Tianxin City could possibly want with them. And then the system alerts him to an epic-level Heaven's Chosen One, making him very happy that his point drought is about to end. Now let's rewind half a month to see what brought these visitors here, starting at the Lin family estate in Tianxin City. This is Lin Hao, head of the Lin family, and he's just heard that the Qin family suddenly produced 2 heavenly gifted sons. He watches his daughter training with their servant while deep in thought about this news. Young Lin Xin'er is giving it her all, striking a powerful pose as she trains. She throws a punch at a tree, knocking some leaves loose while the servant watches stoically. She cheerfully asks how she did, and the servant politely tells her she's extraordinarily talented. but her father just lets out a heavy sigh while facing away from them. Sinner notices and innocently asks why her dad is sighing like that. He quickly covers it up with the most obvious lie ever, saying he just ate too much. Then he drops the real bomb, telling his daughter about the Kin family's eldest son and asking if she'd be willing to marry him. The poor girl's face goes completely blank from shock at this sudden proposal. She protests that she's still a child, but her father cheerfully responds that young love is also love. She dramatically vows to remain single forever, even if she goes blind or crazy, rather than marry some Kin kid. But then they arrive at the Kin family and she sees Kin father first, immediately thinking how handsome this Kin Feng person is. Meanwhile, our actual protagonist is standing there confused about what's happening. The girl quickly catches herself and acts haughty, declaring that being handsome isn't enough to become her husband. She marches up to our protagonist and demands to know if he's actually Kin Feng. Then she introduces her servant Lin San and challenges Kin Feng to fight him to prove his worth. Her father Lin Hao quickly scolds her for being so rude to their hosts, but our protagonist is more interested in the servant, thinking to himself that this guy might be the heaven's chosen one. He reflects on how he's held back against Qin Hao for 5 years to avoid parental drama, only earning about 240,000 villain points total. But now someone who's neither family nor friend has been delivered right to him, and that sinister grin says everything about his plans. Our protagonist notices something interesting. Lin Hao's mouth says, "Don't be rude," but his actions show he's not intervening at all. And Kin father takes that as permission, eagerly volunteering his son to play with the guest. Our boy agrees without hesitation, and that smile says everything about what he's really planning. Lin San takes his stance and politely asks for instruction, completely unaware that he's about to become a villain point farm. And our protagonist immediately goes full power, unleashing an aura that sends Lin San stumbling back. He launches into his swirl of the falling leaves technique, because why hold back when there's points to be earned? Lin San takes the hit and the energy nearly sends him flying. But this heaven's chosen one manages to block, straining under the pressure of an 8-year-old's attack. Lin San fights back with his own technique, and honestly the animation budget just went crazy on this one. Lin Shiner is absolutely impressed by her servant's counterattack, calling it beautiful. But our protagonist notices that one swing took a lot of energy, and to him that's just an opportunity. He immediately goes for the kill with his unconstrained phantom technique, openly declaring he wants his opponent's life. Lin San barely blocks in time, their weapons creating an explosion of spiritual energy. The impact sends shockwaves through the entire courtyard, and the system chimes in with 200 villain points just for landing a hit on Heaven's Chosen One. But Lin San isn't done, counterattacking with everything he's got. And for the first time, our protagonist realizes this might actually be dangerous. He narrowly dodges the incoming strike, twisting his body mid-air. Qun Feng lands hard, skidding across the ground from the force. Meanwhile, Lin Shiner is cheering for her servant to teach that kid a lesson, which is funny considering she's supposed to marry him. Our protagonist smirks, thinking to himself, so this is how it feels to be stifled by a main character. But he's not done yet, raising his hand and calling out for his sword to come to him. Qun father immediately recognizes what's happening and screams out, "Vast Sky 9 swords." Lin Hao can't believe it, saying he heard rumors about the Emperor getting cheated out of those legendary swords but never thought it was true. Qun father can only laugh nervously, looking like a man whose son's crimes just got exposed. Lin Hao tries to call him in-law, and Qin father immediately yells back asking who is his in-law. Meanwhile, Qin Feng commands all 9 swords to combine together. The legendary blades answer his call, floating together in perfect formation, and they merge into one absolutely massive sword that basically blocks out the sun. Qin father can't help but brag that his son has the talent of a great emperor, accidentally admitting the emperor gifted them willingly. Qun Feng stands there looking absolutely badass with the combined blade, hair flowing in the wind. But Lin San isn't backing down, declaring that even with 9 swords, Qin Feng can't beat him. Lin San unleashes his ultimate technique, the Vast Sky Sword attack, a massive golden beam heading straight for our boy. Both fathers immediately panic, realizing this has gotten way out of hand. Qn father explains that the attack and the swords come from the same origin, the Vast Sky Sword God, and now they're fighting each other. He worries that even with talent, his 8-year-old son can't possibly block a technique from a sword god. So he does what any parent would do, rushing to save his son while screaming that father is coming. But our protagonist tells his dad to stay back and not get in his way. Qn father stops in his tracks, looking absolutely devastated that his dear son just rejected his help. Our protagonist takes his stance, sword glowing with incredible power, and he counters with his own ultimate move, the heaven-slaying sword technique. The 2 attacks collide in midair, creating an explosion that shakes the entire estate. Lin Hao is completely shook, barely able to ask what move that was. The shockwave hits everyone watching, leaving both fathers looking absolutely wrecked. Lin San can't believe it, asking how a child could possibly block that attack. But here's where it gets really good because his sword starts cracking. The blade completely shatters and the system announces 100,000 villain points for cracking the Heaven's Chosen One's Dao heart. Our protagonist starts walking toward his victim, casually announcing that he's coming for him. He's already calculating if cracking the Dao heart gave him 100,000 points, then completely destroying his spirit must be worth even more. So he grabs Lin San by the collar, deciding to just go ahead and stab his spirit directly. He starts slashing, earning 500 villain points with each cut on the Heaven's Chosen One. The points just keep stacking, 500 here, 500 there. Our boy is farming like his life depends on it. But then Kin Father grabs him from behind and our protagonist is furious about being stopped mid-grind. Lin Hao nervously agrees with stopping the fight, begging them not to beat his talented servant to a pulp. Lin Hao asks if he can have a word with Kin Father privately and he agrees. The two of them do that awkward dance of excessive politeness, each insisting the other go first. Kin Father is internally celebrating, thinking that thanks to his son's performance, the alliance is basically in the bag. Meanwhile, Lin Shiner approaches our protagonist to tell him he's really strong, and he hits her with the most confident response possible, simply saying, "I know." She tries introducing herself, but he barely gives her an acknowledgement. Instead, he points at Lin San and asks if she can make him come play again. And she absolutely loses it, furious that she asked him to be her husband, but all he wants is to play with her servant. She storms off with an angry huff, completely done with this conversation, and our protagonist is left standing there genuinely confused, wondering what's up with her. Meanwhile, Lin Shiner storms into the guest room to have a word with her father about this whole betrothal situation. Her father asks if she wasn't unwilling to marry the first son in the first place, and that question catches her completely off guard. She immediately protests that no, she absolutely was not unwilling. Her father points out that she's 2 years older than the second son, and wouldn't they be a joke if word got out? But then he laughs it off, saying love between an older woman and younger man is actually quite popular nowadays. Lin Shiner argues that people will say their family is using her to gain power from the Qin family and that they settled for the second son because Qin Feng was off limits. Lin Hao gets absolutely heated, yelling that anyone who dares insult his daughter will have their whole family wiped out. The people outside can definitely hear this, and Lin Shiner begs her dad to stop yelling so loudly. He apologizes and promises to be quieter, but she makes her position clear. She does not want to marry Qin Hao, and that's when her father hits her with the real question, asking if she actually likes Qin Feng instead. She immediately gets defensive, calling him a narcissist and demanding to know who would ever like someone like that. Her father takes that as confirmation and declares the issue settled, leaving Shiner completely blindsided. She storms off yelling that her dad doesn't love her at all, because that's clearly the only logical conclusion here. Lin Hao is left standing there genuinely confused about what just happened with his daughter. One of the servants looks like she has something to say, but she's not sure if she should. Meanwhile, Qin Hao is out in the courtyard, noting how just moments ago they were fighting like tigers and now everyone's talking about marriage without even consulting him. But he just shrugs it off, thinking that not dealing with the hardships of love works fine for him anyway. Because as far as he's concerned, as long as he has Lin San around, that's enough for him. And Lin San can definitely feel something is off, thinking to himself that he always feels like someone's watching him. Elsewhere, Lin Shiner is sitting in a flower field doing the classic "he loves me" routine with a flower. "He loves me not," she says, plucking another petal. But then she gets frustrated because the flower isn't giving her the answer she wants. So she decides to take matters into her own hands instead of relying on some dumb flower. She spots our protagonist and calls out to him, but he's busy asking his dad if he can go out and play with brother Lin San. She quickly pivots, asking Lin San where he's going and why he didn't call her. Both fathers immediately see this as a perfect opportunity and agree with suspicious enthusiasm. Lin Hao tells Lin San to take Shiner and the young master out for a look around the city, and to keep them safe. Qin Hao realizes he's basically the free one in a buy one get one free deal, but honestly, if Lin San does his job well, he's fine with it. And so the unlikely group heads out together, with Lin San leading the way. They arrive at Huanggu Marketplace, and our protagonist is already scheming, thinking that Heaven's Chosen Ones can always find valuable treasures, so whatever Lin San picks, he'll snatch it. The moment Lin San reaches for something, our boy grabs it first and tells the shopkeeper he'll take it, earning 300 villain points for stealing the Chosen One's herb. Every time Lin San's hand moves towards something, our protagonist is already there. He just keeps grabbing everything Lin San shows interest in, not even trying to be subtle about it. And the system keeps rewarding him. Another 300 villain points for forcefully stealing Heaven's Chosen One's treasures. Lin San is clearly annoyed, while our protagonist casually remarks that being the free one isn't so bad after all. Lin San is starting to think this kid is a little weird. And honestly, he's not wrong. Lin Shiner tries to get our protagonist's attention, asking if he can come look at something with her, but he just tells her she's blocking his way, completely shutting her down. She throws a tantrum about being ignored, but our protagonist couldn't care less. But then she immediately switches gears, saying that his fierce attitude is actually what she likes about him. The group continues through the marketplace, our protagonist still on the hunt for more opportunities. That's when someone spots something interesting at one of the shops, and our protagonist's senses immediately go on high alert. Suddenly, Lin San and this random girl are arguing about who saw it first, with actual flames in the background. Our protagonist wastes no time asking how much the item costs, and the shopkeeper offers it for 888 spirit stones. He immediately says he'll take it, figuring if two Heaven's Chosen Ones both noticed it, it must be something valuable. Lin San can't believe he's not even bargaining, but our protagonist just says 888 spirit stones is trivial. The system confirms he ruined the opportunity of Heaven's Chosen One and rewards him with a lottery draw, and our boy realizes this really is a treasure. But when he actually examines the cauldron, he can't figure out what's so special about it. He realizes there's absolutely nothing he can see from this thing, which is slightly concerning. That's when the young girl approaches him, asking if Big Brother can give it to her. And our protagonist has an idea, wondering if since his villain system is broken, maybe it can be activated through a Heaven's Chosen One. So he offers to lend it to her for a few days if she pays him 8 spirit stones, saying he'll generously cover the other 880. And this innocent child immediately agrees to the deal. But of course our protagonist changes the terms, saying actually it's 800 spirit stones and no more. He snatches her money pouch, taking everything she has as payment, and this pure child is actually thanking him, saying he's such a good big brother. The system rewards him 500 villain points for deceiving an ignorant Heaven's Chosen One, and our boy just thinks to himself, what a dumb younger sister. Lin San moves on to look at something else, and our protagonist is already calculating his next move. He puts his hand on Lin San's shoulder and casually announces he wants everything in this shop. Lin San is really starting to feel like this young master keeps secretly looking at him and showing off, but it just doesn't make sense. And our protagonist just smirks to himself, thinking that was a close one. He almost didn't get it all. Our protagonist and Lin San are still at the marketplace, browsing through more treasures. And of course our boy's eyes are already locked on whatever Lin San is reaching for. But Lin Shinner swoops in and grabs it first, casually declaring she'll take this one. She asks our protagonist if he's done buying, probably hoping for some actual attention from him. But Lin San suddenly gets all nervous and says he has something to do, stuttering out a goodbye. Lin Shinner is left standing there confused, wondering why both the master and servant are acting so strange. Meanwhile, elsewhere, a green-haired girl is walking with Qin Hao, learning that Lin San suddenly fell ill and can't go to the marketplace. She offers to accompany him instead, but homeboy just shuts her down without a second thought. But she's not giving up, declaring that she only wants Lin San, admiring how he keeps his distance from women. She cheerfully announces she'll come back tomorrow, and Qin Hao can only stand there and accept this situation. And Lin San, who overheard everything, is absolutely mortified, repeating her words in complete disbelief. Later that night, our purple-haired servant is having an existential crisis, lamenting that his goal was to be a high-quality servant. He emphasizes that he wanted to be a servant, not a— well, let's just say he has very specific concerns about this arrangement. The next day, the whole city is buzzing as the official engagement between the Qin and Lin families is publicly announced. With the alliance finalized, the families exchange their farewells as the Lin family prepares to depart, and our protagonist is already doing the math, realizing his twofold treasure-finding tool just became onefold since they're leaving. Lin San watches from the carriage, probably relieved to finally get away from all this chaos. But wait, there's the green-haired girl again, and Lin San looks like he wants to disappear into thin air. The girl is already in their carriage, while our protagonist watches from below with clear interest, and she's blushing, thinking the young master is looking at her, which is absolutely not what's happening here. Back at the Qin mansion, things are about to get very interesting. Our protagonist is checking his system stats, idly thinking about how nice it would be to run away from home with Lin San. But then he notices he's sitting on 150,000 villain points and a lottery draw, which is honestly not bad for a few days of work. He's genuinely excited to see what he'll draw this time, and honestly so are we. And the system delivers big time, granting him a god-level Buddhist technique called Heavenly Dragon's Might that deals double damage against demons. The power immediately starts surging through him, golden energy exploding everywhere. A massive golden dragon manifests above him, and this is absolutely insane to witness. The dragon roars with earth-shaking power, letting everyone in a 10-mile radius know something big is happening. Our protagonist absorbs all that divine energy, his body practically glowing from the power surge. When it's finally over, he's sitting there completely exhausted, breathing heavily from the intensity. He notices a dragon pattern has appeared on his shoulder, which apparently lets him use god-level Buddhist techniques now. But the power keeps surging uncontrollably, and our boy is definitely not having a good time right now. The energy explodes outward in a blinding flash of golden light. When the dust settles, our protagonist is standing in what used to be his room, debris everywhere, muttering a very appropriate curse. He realizes he needs to put on a show and pretend this was intentional, so he quickly asks the system for an upgrade. The system obliges, and another wave of golden power surges through him as he screams from the intensity. That's when his father and the family ancestor come bursting in, calling out his name in panic. The ancestor is absolutely stunned, marveling at his terrifying power of comprehension, while his dad is just staring at what's left of the house. The system congratulates him for breaking through to the third stage, which only cost him a casual 100,000 villain points. Oh, and also another 30,000 for the second stage of Transcension Realm, and our protagonist is starting to sweat. 130,000 points gone in an instant, and our boy is actually mourning his savings like he lost a loved one. From outside, you can see the massive hole in the roof, and the ancestor is yelling for someone to bring the best spiritual elixirs. He's really not messing around, screaming at people to hurry up and move it. The next day at the imperial court, the officials are in an uproar over the Qin family's alliance, demanding punishment. But one advisor speaks up, recommending peaceful negotiations since strange things have been happening and they can't afford internal conflict. Another supports this, warning that the Yinyu dynasty has grown stronger and two chosen sons of heaven have appeared as their true enemies. The emperor weighs his options, knowing they need powerful families to unite, but that would give the Qin family's two chosen ones time to grow. He laments that if only the royal family could produce their own chosen sons, none of this political maneuvering would be necessary. Meanwhile, at the Qin family meeting, they're discussing the imperial family's moves, and someone's ready to throw hands if war comes. They analyze the situation, noting that with their new alliance and the Yinyu dynasty watching, the royal family would be sacrificing a lot to attack. The ancestor explains that as a prestigious family, once they grow too powerful, they become a target, and a quick battle is what the emperor wants. Our protagonist overhears everything from outside, noting how the imperial family is really banding together just to maintain their power. He's peeking through the door, wondering if they're really gonna war and if he should just make his escape now. But then he closes his eyes and firmly decides against running away. He admits that as a transmigrator, he originally planned not to get emotionally invested since having weaknesses makes you vulnerable. But these past 8 years, the Qin family has been nothing but loving and faithful to him, and he can't just watch them die. And that's when it hits him, the perfect solution to all of this chaos. He bursts in announcing to his ancestor and father that he's thought of a way to solve everything. But his father immediately tells him to get out, while the ancestor tells him to shut his trap. The ancestor, however, is curious and asks to hear the solution, much to the father's annoyance at the obvious favoritism. Our protagonist explains that the whole situation exists because he and Qin Hao disrupted the power balance, so if they conceal themselves, there's no reason for war. The ancestor points out that even if they hide, the royal family won't stop unless they die or become disabled. Our protagonist simply responds with a confident agreement, clearly having anticipated this exact response. And then he drops the bomb, declaring that the solution is mutilation, specifically digging out Qin Hao's supreme bone since it'll grow back anyway. The ancestor actually thinks the plan might work, but Qin Feng's father is absolutely not having it. He argues that Hire is only 5 years old, way too young to go through something like this. The ancestor explains that becoming supreme takes more than just the bone. You need willpower, spirit, and above all, destiny. Hire must overcome having his supreme bone removed and go into hiding, so he can reach the supreme level after it regrows. The cover story is perfect. The young master was jealous of his brother's gifts, so he personally dug out the supreme bone and fled after being discovered. The former family head was furious and announced Qin Feng is cut from the family and wanted dead throughout Huanggu. While Qin Hao suffers the physical pain, Qin Feng will endure both physical and mental torment as a labeled traitor, hunted endlessly until his brother grows up to clear his name. The father refuses to accept this cruelty, saying if the Imperials want war, then they'll have war. They're not afraid of those bastards. He reaches out to his son, promising to protect both him and Hauer, even if it costs him his life. Our protagonist declares he'll bear any obscenity for the family, and the system immediately rewards him for acting as a hypocritical villain with a new inventory ability. The ancestor warns him that once he goes through with this, there's no turning back and no chance to regret it. Our boy responds with some poetic wisdom about treasured swords needing to be sharpened, plum blossoms only blooming from bitter cold, but internally he's screaming that they held him back for 8 precious years. And he just wants to dig out that bone, get those unrivaled eyes, and go find some beautiful women. The ancestor finally agrees, shouting his approval. But the father is still in shock at what's been decided. He drops to his knees and begs the ancestor to reconsider. He insists there must be another way, while Qin Feng watches his father's desperation. Our protagonist is internally cursing because his performance has hit a roadblock with all this opposition. The ancestor places a hand on the father's shoulder, explaining this plan minimizes the family's losses even in the worst-case scenario. But the father cries that Fenger is only 8. Qin Feng helps his father to his feet, telling him he doesn't need to kneel. He promises his father that the children will definitely return safe. And with that, Qin Feng turns to leave while his father can only call out his name. The father watches his son walk toward the bright doorway, murmuring an apology to both his children. That night, young Qin Hao sleeps peacefully in his bed, completely unaware of the shadow approaching him. Wait, that's not Qin Hao, that's a girl stirring awake. Qin Feng looms over her with lightning crackling in the background, and things are about to get real. She innocently reaches out to him with a smile, calling him brother. And then he does it, slashing into her as she screams in agony. She stares up at him in disbelief, blood dripping from her mouth as she weakly calls out brother. Qin Feng coldly declares he's taking the supreme bone, pulling it from her body. The system congratulates him for wounding the chosen one and putting his life on the line, awarding a whopping 800,000 villain points. Our protagonist touches his eye as power surges through him. His eyes begin to glow with an intense supernatural light. He examines his reward, a glowing cauldron materializing beside him, and asks if these are the unrivaled eyes. He leaves the cauldron for his wounded sibling, calling her his foolish baby brother, which confirms this girl is actually Qin Hao. He leaps out the window thinking the unrivaled eyes are the best path forward, so borrowing the bone was never the real goal. Behind him, healing energy from the cauldron begins surrounding the injured child, stabilizing her condition. Outside in the pouring rain, a figure kneels in the courtyard near Yun Qiyue's room. It's Qin Feng, collapsed with blood on his hands, the weight of what he just did crashing down on him. Inside, the father has to physically restrain the mother who's clearly devastated by the news. Qin Feng looks up at the building where his parents are, rain pouring down around him. The father holds his crying wife close, both of them broken by this impossible situation. With blood on his face mixing with the rain, Qin Feng calls out that he's leaving, saying goodbye to his parents. And then he's gone, leaping across the rooftops into the stormy night. The mother bursts out into the courtyard, desperately calling her son's name. Her face is twisted in anguish, tears streaming down as she screams for him. She collapses to her knees, screaming into the empty rain-soaked night. The grief becomes too much and she faints, with the father rushing to catch her and calling her name. Outside the Qin family gate, our protagonist takes one last look back and thinks his goodbye to everything he's known. The ancestor's voice reaches him telepathically, explaining that with sunrise the death warrant will spread throughout Huanggu, and asking where he plans to go. Qin Feng answers simply, saying he's heading to the Yinyu dynasty. The ancestor tells him to stay alive and return, and as Qin Feng walks away, the system rewards his hypocritical villain act by doubling his inventory space. The system also asks if he's allergic to romance, which honestly is a fair question given how focused he is on power. The next morning, the sun rises over the Qin family estate. A cheerful maid with braids carries a wash basin, happily calling out that the sun is already shining on the young master's butt. But then she sees something that makes her drop the basin completely. She runs through the halls screaming for someone to come quick, because the second young master has been attacked. A crowd gathers around the injured Qin Hao wrapped in bandages, and someone says the assailant was the eldest young master. The servants can't believe it, insisting Qin Feng was always polite, refined and smart. There's no way he could do this. But the evidence speaks for itself and the servants exchange worried glances. The father has to play his part, shouting in apparent rage, but the emotional strain is too much and he starts coughing violently. He coughs up blood and collapses, calling out his son's name as everything hits him at once. The servants catch him as he falls, shouting for the family head. Someone explains the official story to the crowd, that Qin Feng was secretly jealous, stole his brother's supreme bone, and fled after being caught. The ancestor steps forward and officially announces that Qin Feng is banished from the family and must be killed on sight. A servant worries that with the supreme bone gone and Qin Feng lost, what means does the family have to win the coming war? The ancestor coldly declares that someone with behavior like that isn't worthy to be part of the Qin family. Meanwhile, at the Great Xia Dynasty Imperial Palace, the emperor is absolutely thrilled, celebrating that one chosen one is now crippled and the other ran away. He laughs that heaven truly is helping the Great Xia Empire, and immediately announces he's choosing new concubines to celebrate. The court officials bow in unison, chanting "Long live the emperor." But somewhere in the forest, our protagonist is riding a donkey with the biggest grin on his face because he finally saved up 1,000,000 villain points. He immediately presses the exchange button on his system screen. Power surges around him as the system congratulates him for spending 1,000,000 points on a 100% great completion card. And just like that, his 33 Heavenly Fortune art reaches 100% great completion, making this whole tragic escape actually worth it. And just like that, our protagonist is already testing out his brand new power upgrade. But then he hears something in the distance that makes his ears perk up. Even his donkey is looking at him like, "Are you hearing what I'm hearing right now?" Our boy immediately leaps into action to investigate the situation. And what does he find? A group of thugs surrounding someone on the road. And the person they're harassing is absolutely gorgeous, because of course she is. Our protagonist realizes he hasn't had any female contact in 8 whole years, and suddenly this feels important. The girl screams as one of the creeps gets too close for comfort. This is his moment time to play the hero and save the damsel in distress. He leaps down from the tree with a dramatic entrance already prepared. But wait, someone else got there first and is already kicking the thug's face in. This mysterious swordsman just completely stole our protagonist's thunder. He stands protectively in front of the beauty, lecturing the thugs about harassing young women in broad daylight. And the girl is already looking at this guy with sparkles in her eyes. "Are you kidding me right now?" The thugs start threatening them, claiming they're part of the mighty Tiger Gang. But then one of them spots something very interesting and calls his boss over. It's a wanted poster with Qin Feng's face on it, offering 100,000 spiritual stones for his capture. Lin steps forward with his sword drawn, asking what exactly they think they're doing. He glances at Qin Feng and asks if these are old acquaintances of his. Our protagonist has absolutely no idea who these random thugs are supposed to be. And then the thugs all swallow some kind of pills and start getting pumped up. Lin recognizes those as berserk pills that can double a person's fighting power. But wait, if they were just planning to have fun with the girl, why would they need power-boosting pills? The implications of that question make Lin imagine some extremely concerning scenarios. He visibly shudders at the thought, because honestly, same. No time to think about that, he needs to take them out before the pills kick in. and with one devastating sword strike, he cuts through all of them at once. The man's swordsmanship is absolutely devastating, way stronger than before, and the system happily chimes in, congratulating Qin Feng for 300 villain points just for being nearby. Lin himself looks shocked at how powerful that attack was, noting that he's gotten even stronger. Qin Feng casually strolls up and greets him like they're old friends running into each other. The girl introduces herself as Ziwan and thanks them both for saving her. Lin acts all noble about it, and Ziwan is eating it up while Qin Feng is thinking, what about me though? But one of the thugs is still alive and crawling away. He threatens that with a 100,000 stone bounty on Qin Feng's head, they'll never escape. And then he launches a signal into the sky with the Tiger Gang symbol blazing for everyone to see. The thug cackles that their gang leader is at the third stage of spiritual martial realm. Lin steps up beside Ziwan and promises to protect her no matter what comes. Qin Feng just gives him a thumbs up and wishes him good luck with that. Then he grabs Ziwan and books it because he's not about to let Lin have this showing off moment. Meanwhile, at the Kuksui Mountain ruins, that signal is spotted by some very interested parties. The leader grins and notes that it looks like they finally found Qin Feng's trail. When someone mentions the ruins they were exploring, the leader doesn't even hesitate. He declares they can find the treasure after catching Qin Feng, because that bounty is guaranteed money. Back with our crew, Lin watches Qin Feng run off and realizes the dilemma of the situation. Lin ends up chasing after them, calling for Qin Feng to wait up. Ziwan is confused because he was just boasting about protecting her, and the system rewards 500 points for ruining Lin's moment. Qin Feng is thrilled that he can earn villain points just by stealing the protagonist's spotlight. When Lin catches up and asks why they're running when Qin Feng is clearly strong enough to fight, Qin Feng launches into a speech about how relying on others' power doesn't make you a real man. He declares that he wants to rely solely on his own strength to make his way in this world. Meanwhile, he's internally telling his system to shut up because it's clearly mocking him. But Lin is actually impressed by this speech and says he admires Qin Feng's ambitions. Qin Feng asks why Lin is even out here instead of returning to Tianxing City. Lin says he's out to learn through experiencing the world before heading back home. Ziwan chimes in that she's also out learning through experience, and Qin Feng's eyes narrow. After reading novels for 10 years, he knows exactly what protagonists really mean when they say that. They claim it's about self-improvement, but really they're hunting for ruins, treasures, or beautiful women. And all the beauties they save are spoiled rich girls who conveniently can't take care of themselves. It's because protagonists always protect these helpless girls that they become so dependent later. Looking at Ziwan's expensive clothes and clueless expression, our boy is thinking maybe he should make an investment too. So our crew found themselves a nice cozy cave for the night, complete with roast meat over the fire. And Lin immediately goes into simp mode, offering his portion to Ziwan like the gentleman protagonist he is. She accepts it with a smile, and honestly she looks absolutely adorable doing it. But Qin Feng immediately starts teasing her about eating his food, meaning she'll have to take care of him later. And poor girl nearly chokes. He suggests splitting up guard duty with Lin, taking the second half of the night. While standing guard outside, Qin Feng remembers he still has an unused lottery draw from when he dug out that supreme bone. So naturally, he decides to spin the wheel while munching on some chicken, because why not? And the system announces he won a god-level stealing technique called non-existent space snatch, which sounds incredibly suspicious. The power manifests as these glowing spatial portals that can apparently grab things from anywhere. Qin Feng immediately tests it out by snatching a stone from thin air, and his face lights up like a kid on Christmas. He realizes this is basically like clairvoyance from novels that can see through anything, including clothes, and declares it a valuable treasure. And then he looks back at the cave where Ziwan is sleeping with the most suspicious expression imaginable. The little laugh he lets out right here is giving major red flags, and honestly someone needs to stop this man. He walks back to the cave entrance and activates his new power while Ziwan is sleeping. And suddenly he's holding her chest undergarment in his hand, looking absolutely mortified because that was not the plan. Ziwan wakes up and immediately notices something very important is missing from her person. She's covering herself, looking absolutely scandalized and demanding to know what happened. She starts doing the math. There's only 3 people in the cave. Qin Feng is on guard duty, and that leaves only one suspect sleeping right next to her. So she immediately starts chasing Lin, demanding he give it back while he looks absolutely bewildered. Qin Feng strolls in casually, asking what's wrong and what did brother Lin take from her. Ziwan just points at Lin furiously while poor Lin is sitting there with question marks floating over his head, and the system immediately rewards 500 villain points for successfully framing the protagonist and making the goddess hate him. Ziwan storms off absolutely fuming while our boy is just standing there knowing exactly what he did. Lin asks Qin Feng what's wrong with Lady Ziwan, and our protagonist just shrugs, saying he has no idea. But then a scream echoes from outside the cave that makes them both freeze. Lin immediately grabs his sword and rushes out, shouting that something bad has happened. Qin Feng is thinking, wait, did the protagonist just set up a hero saves the damsel scenario to boost his favorability after being hated? He decides forget laying low, it's time to show his cards and steal this moment for himself. He blasts past Lin at ridiculous speed, leaving the protagonist wondering what kind of movement technique that even was. A beam of energy streaks toward where the scream came from. He arrives to find Ziwan face to face with a massive saber-toothed tiger beast and immediately announces he's there to save her. He swoops in and grabs her without hesitation, and the way she's looking at him right now is hitting different. He carries her princess style while dodging the beast, and Ziwan is absolutely not complaining about this arrangement. The close-up on her face says everything. She's definitely feeling some type of way about young Master Qin right now. Once they land safely, she thanks him for arriving in time to save her from harm. But the tiger beast isn't done. It comes crashing through the trees, still looking for a fight. Ziwan shouts for him to watch out as he moves to shield her from the attack. But internally, Qin Feng is panicking because in the chaos, he definitely touched somewhere he shouldn't have. He's relieved that she apparently didn't notice, but the awkward tension is very real right now. Lin catches up and warns them that this is a 9th stage Transcension Realm beast, and they need to work together to beat it. But Qin Feng is already scheming, thinking if he impresses the protagonist's goddess enough, she might switch sides entirely. He asks if they really need to team up for something this week, with the most arrogant smirk imaginable. He tells Ziwan to stay put while he handles the saber-toothed tiger, and she actually looks worried for him. And then he launches himself at the beast without any hesitation whatsoever. Lin shouts for him to stop being reckless and that they can only win by working together. Qin Feng yells back that he's really annoying while drawing his sword with energy crackling around it. He swings his blade with power surging through every strike, and unleashes the heaven-slaying sword technique in all its glory. The blade tears right through the tiger beast, drawing blood and making it roar in pain. But instead of going down, the beast's eyes glow red with rage as it prepares to counterattack. Ziwan screams for young Master Qin to watch out as the beast charges at him. Lin rushes in to help, but Qin Feng is internally fuming that this guy still wants to steal his spotlight. So Qin Feng starts channeling energy between his palms, calling out the heavenly dragon technique, and a massive golden dragon erupts from his attack with devastating might. The dragon slams directly into the tiger beast with enough force to shake the entire forest. A massive explosion sends smoke billowing everywhere as Qin Feng watches the destruction unfold. The tiger goes down and the system rewards 500 points for preventing the protagonist from showing off to his goddess. Lin is standing there completely speechless, unable to even form words at what he just witnessed. Ziwan runs over gushing about how strong he is, and Qin Feng plays it cool, saying it was just an insignificant skill. But internally, his legs are shaking and he's thinking that move drained way more energy than he expected. Suddenly, the sound of applause comes from the tree line and everyone turns to look. A stranger emerges praising young Master Qin's impressive skills with a smile that doesn't quite reach his eyes. Turns out it's the Tiger Gang leader who found them, and he's demanding an explanation for all his dead subordinates. But Qin Feng immediately points at Lin and introduces him as his big brother, saying they'll have to get through him first. Then he grabs Ziwan and announces he's going to go rest while leaving these good-for-nothings to his big brother. Lin just smirks, knowing exactly what game Qin Feng is playing, and the system drops 2,000 villain points for successfully scheming against the protagonist. The Tiger Gang leader wastes no time splitting up the hunt, sending his men after Qin Feng while he personally handles Lin. And Lin finds himself staring down a 3rd stage spiritual martial realm cultivator, which is basically the equivalent of bringing a knife to a tank fight. The gang leader launches himself at Lin with his weapon spinning, fully expecting to end this in one blow. Their weapons collide with enough force to light up the entire forest. But Lin is holding his own, blocking strikes while already having taken down several of the gang members around him. Meanwhile, Qin Feng is dragging Ziwan through the forest, while she actually has the audacity to worry about Lin of all people. Qin Feng reassures her that Lin is Heaven's chosen one with a powerful protagonist halo, and she's just standing there like, what halo? But before she can question his sanity further, a poison dart catches her from behind. Ziwan goes down hard, and Qin Feng's carefully crafted escape plan just got a lot more complicated. The gang member who threw it is already celebrating, thinking he just scored an easy kill. But Qin Feng is absolutely not having it, and that gang member just signed his own death warrant. One hit sends the guy flying into a tree so hard the bark cracks around him. Qin Feng rushes back to check on Ziwan, and our boy is genuinely worried about the protagonist's woman right now. He's internally cursing himself for burning all his energy showing off earlier, but the system conveniently offers a recovery pill for just 1,000 villain points. 1,000 points seems cheap, so he immediately takes the deal, only to find out it only restores 10% of his strength. Of course, this dog system would pull something like that, so now he's spamming the exchange button 9 more times like his life depends on it. With his strength back, he starts channeling energy to heal Ziwan's wounds. But wait, he's questioning the system because her injury is on her back, but the healing technique requires treating through the chest, and that's definitely suspicious. Against all odds and questionable medical logic, it actually seems to be working. Qin Feng is staring at his hands in disbelief because that really shouldn't have worked, but he's not complaining. Later, Qin Feng wanders through the forest ravine wondering if Lin managed to escape his situation back there, and then he stumbles upon what looks like a war zone, with trees absolutely demolished everywhere. He's thinking typical protagonist nonsense, overcoming a realm difference like it's nothing special. But then he hears something approaching from nearby, footsteps, and by the sound of it, more than a few people are heading this way. He ducks out of sight just in time to overhear some very interesting intel about Lin heading to some ruins after injuring the gang leader. So naturally, Qin Feng decides the best course of action is to drop down right in front of them like an absolute menace. The gang members immediately recognize him and start throwing around threats, which honestly is adorable given what's about to happen. Our boy just confirms his identity with a smile and casually asks where exactly these ruins are located. They're so excited that he just handed himself over that they immediately try to surround him, which was their first and last mistake. Qin Feng doesn't even give them time to blink before launching a devastating energy slash. And just like that, the entire group gets absolutely folded in a single strike. He casually mentions they should have treasured the chance to live he gave them, standing among the carnage like it's just another Tuesday. He grabs a map off one of them and finds out Lin went to somewhere called Cuxway Mountain Ruins, and now he's curious why. But he decides that's future Qin Feng's problem, and pockets the map for later. He heads back to check on Ziwan and finds her still peacefully sleeping, completely unaware of everything that just happened. With her resting, Qin Feng figures now is the perfect time to finally integrate that supreme bone he's been carrying around. He's reasoning that since they're blood brothers from the same mother, the supreme bone theoretically shouldn't reject him. And then he grabs his sword with a look that says he's about to do something incredibly stupid. And yep, there it is. Our boy just stabbed himself in the chest to create a spot for the bone, because apparently that's how this works. He collapses immediately because, shockingly, stabbing yourself hurts a lot. But he's pushing through the pain, thinking he just needs to get the supreme bone in and everything will be fine. The moment the bone goes in, his entire body lights up with energy, and he's screaming in absolute agony as it merges with him. He starts coughing up blood as his body struggles to handle the transformation. He finally goes down completely, thinking that this really does hurt as bad as it looks. Ziwan wakes up to find Qin Feng collapsed against her, and she is absolutely not prepared for this situation. She immediately starts calling him shameless because from her perspective this looks extremely inappropriate. She's even kicking at him, accusing him of pretending to be asleep, which honestly is fair given his track record. But then she notices all the blood and her attitude shifts completely. She gets him somewhere safe and checks that he's still breathing, genuinely worried now. That's when she notices something strange about the spiritual energy flowing through him, and it definitely doesn't match her moon god palace techniques. She starts putting the pieces together, remembering how she was dying from poison but somehow woke up completely healed. The realization hits her that young Master Qin must have saved her life while she was unconscious. But now his spiritual power is going haywire and needs to be suppressed immediately or things are gonna get very bad. Ziwan makes up her mind, saying he's been kind to her and she can't just abandon him when she's the only one who can help. So she embraces him and starts channeling her own energy to stabilize his condition, and honestly this scene is kind of beautiful. The pink spiritual energy swirls around them as his power finally starts to calm down. Qin Feng finally wakes up and immediately notices the supreme bone merge was successful. His strength has increased again. But Ziwan is staring at him with a blush and says something about his eyes looking different. Qin Feng is confused, asking what's wrong with his eyes because he feels completely fine. That's when he notices some bees flying by, and something feels very different about how he's seeing them. His hand shoots out on instinct to catch one of them. He actually catches the bee with ease, and Ziwan is absolutely floored by how fast his hand moved. But to Qin Feng, that bee was moving so slowly he's wondering why anyone would be impressed. And that's when it clicks. The supreme bone didn't just strengthen his body, it also upgraded his unrivaled double pupils to a whole new level. So after discovering his upgraded double pupils, Qin Feng has a brilliant idea and asks Ziwan to slap him as hard as she can. And Ziwan is looking at him like he's absolutely lost his mind, which honestly is fair, but our boy is way too excited about this, practically begging her to hurry up and hit him. She's already apologizing in advance, clearly thinking this is some kind of test she's about to fail. So she goes for the slap, moving in what she thinks is a normal speed. But to Qin Feng with his upgraded eyes, it's like watching someone move through honey, and he catches her wrist effortlessly. And now he's just standing there processing the fact that his perception has become absolutely insane. Meanwhile, Ziwan is nervously asking if she did something wrong, completely unaware of what just happened. Our boy smoothly transitions from science experiment to flirting, complimenting her soft hands while casually asking where they should go explore next. He mentions a secret treasure hunting location, and she's immediately on board because of course she is. Remember that map he swiped from those Tiger Gang members he eliminated? Turns out it's finally time to use it. And right on cue, the system triggers a villain mission to steal the Chosen One's treasure, with a gold chest as reward. That's when Qin Feng realizes why Lin San didn't go back to Tianxin City. He was here hunting for treasure this whole time. Ziwan peers into the mysterious portal and asks if young Master Lin is really in there. Qin Feng assures her that Tiger Gang intel is solid, and they both agree to head inside. They emerge on the other side, and Qin Feng immediately notices there's somewhere special. The sign confirms it. This is the legendary mountain boundary mentioned in ancient texts. Ziwan is confused about finding Lin, but Qin Feng is already stripping down like he's at a spa. Our boy standing there shirtless explains that the Kin family records mention a spiritual pool here that can help cultivators break through. He explains the pool has a dragon vein with abundant spiritual energy, and if a man and woman cultivate together, time slows down so one day equals a year. He's thinking that using his heavenly dragon technique earlier damaged his foundation while the supreme bone was still merging, so he needs to recover before facing Lin and the gang. And then it hits him. This explains why his parents disappeared for 8 years. They were here the whole time building their relationship. Flashback to young Qin Feng reading a book titled 18 Styles in the Room, and suddenly everything about this family makes a lot more sense. He's musing about not wasting time when Ziwan catches up and asks when exactly is the right time. And then she gets a full view of him from behind and freezes completely. She screams at a volume that could probably alert everyone in the entire ruins. Qin Feng whips around, startled by her sudden outburst, and without hesitation he grabs her mid-scream. He scoops her up and leaps straight toward the water because apparently this was his solution. They crash into the spiritual pool together, sending water everywhere. For a moment they're both submerged in the glowing waters. Ziwan surfaces coughing and sputtering, clothes completely soaked. She immediately starts demanding to know what the hell he thinks he's doing. But Qin Feng tells her to keep it down unless she wants to lead the entire tiger gang right to them. She realizes he pushed her into the water to protect her, and when she asks, he just says why else would he do it. Her attitude completely shifts, and she starts approaching him, asking where he's hurt, so she can help apply medication. Qin Feng says medication won't be necessary, but if she really wants to help, she could take off her clothes and soak in the pool with him. And Ziwan's brain completely short-circuits as she stammers about taking off her clothes. She can barely get the words out, asking if he really means soaking together. Qin Feng explains with perfect logic that if she keeps her clothes on, how can her body absorb the spiritual power, and if they don't soak together, how will time slow down? And Ziwan convinces herself it makes sense. Plus, Qin Feng is only an 8-year-old kid, so what would he even know? She smiles and agrees that if it's for cultivation, they should definitely soak together. The system immediately pings congratulating him for successfully deceiving a young girl from a respectable family, earning him 300 villain points. Qin Feng turns away with a smirk, claiming he really didn't deceive her, then immediately admits, yeah, actually he totally did. They position themselves to begin cultivating together, steam conveniently covering everything important. And honestly, this scene is giving major romance arc vibes as they begin their dual cultivation. 3 days later in pool time, which is apparently 3 years of cultivation, Qin Feng is deep in meditation, and then he feels it, the breakthrough he's been building toward, and energy explodes outward from his body. The system confirms he's broken through to the 3rd stage of the Transcension realm, netting him 1,000 villain points. Meanwhile outside, the Tiger Gang members are freaking out, wondering why the entire ruins are shaking. The rocks start collapsing around them as Qin Feng's breakthrough energy destabilizes the whole area. And that's when they break through and find Qin Feng and Ziwan sitting there together, both clearly not fully dressed. Everyone just stares at each other in complete silence, because this is incredibly awkward for all parties involved. Ziwan immediately starts trying to explain that this isn't what it looks like, which is exactly what someone would say when it's exactly what it looks like. One of them recognizes Qin Feng by name, and the leader immediately orders them to capture both of them. Ziwan asks why they're targeting him specifically, and our boy says it's probably because he's too handsome. And Ziwan is just standing there speechless at the audacity of this man. The gang leader threatens them, saying they're surrounded and should surrender the easy way or the hard way. But Qin Feng just smirks, asking if they're sure they have him surrounded, thinking this is perfect practice right after his breakthrough. The gang members charge at him all at once, clearly not understanding what they're walking into. Qin Feng summons his weapons, explaining that since there's so many of them, he'll test the power of all 9 swords separately. The 9 swords disperse outward, each one flying toward a different target, and then he brings all 9 swords together for one devastating combined attack. The swords tear through the gang members like they're made of paper, blood spraying everywhere. The gang leader is absolutely horrified, demanding to know how an 8-year-old has this kind of terrifying strength. One of the surviving members screams for everyone to run, pure terror on his face. But running doesn't help when Qin Feng's sword catches him anyway, and the system rewards 100 points for the kill. When the dust settles, the system tallies up 232 kills and 23,000 villain points. Qin Feng casually tells Ziwan they should get moving, while she's standing there absolutely stunned at how strong he's become. Our boy just smirks and asks if the gains from this trip weren't pretty good, because honestly he's not wrong. Ziwan asks where they're heading next, and our boy pulls out that map he swiped from the Tiger Gang earlier. He points to their destination, the Bloody Body Tree, which sounds ominous as all hell. But when they arrive at the location, they find a woman tied to a tree, and she's looking absolutely stunning despite clearly being in distress. A whole squad of Tiger Gang members surrounds her, and their leader assures them she's weak because she just gave birth. Qin Feng is immediately disgusted, calling out that these bastards actually laid hands on a mother who just gave birth, and Ziwan is so angry she starts pinching his arm, while he winces and tells her to go softer. Our boy retaliates by pinching her thigh and claims they're even now, which earns him a stingy guy insult. But their playful bickering gets cut short when they hear something that makes them both freeze. The gang members have started attacking the woman, multiple spears piercing through her body as blood sprays everywhere. They keep stabbing her without mercy, and honestly this is just brutal to watch. The assault continues as they all pile on, giving her no chance to even defend herself. Ziwan can't take it anymore and screams for them to stop, because even she has her limits. She confronts the gang leader directly, demanding to know if this is really how the mighty tiger gang operates. The leader recognizes Qin Feng immediately, thinking his lucky day just got even better with this unexpected bonus. He reminds Qin Feng that last time he only escaped because Lin San was there to save him. This time though, he's confident there's no escape as he charges in with his fists glowing with energy. But our boy catches the attack effortlessly and tells him he has quite the imagination. Maybe he should become a story writer instead. With a flick of energy, Qin Feng sends the leader flying through the air like he weighs nothing. Qin Feng casually asks if the guy is convinced now, while the leader looks absolutely humiliated. That only makes the leader angrier as he screams that Qin Feng is courting death. Ziwan tells Qin Feng to go save the woman while she handles this guy, and he agrees without hesitation. The gang leader unleashes his signature technique, summoning a massive fire tiger that roars with destructive energy. Qin Feng observes the tiger descending the mountain technique and admits it's a little interesting. But a little interesting isn't nearly enough as our boy summons his golden dragon aura with sword in hand. He smirks and delivers the most devastating line possible, telling the guy that his dragon is bigger than his tiger. The gang leader is absolutely seething at this brat's audacity. He decides to go all out, pouring every ounce of power into his tiger descending the mountain technique. But Qin Feng responds with his heavenly dragon's might, golden energy exploding outward. The golden dragon completely overpowers the tiger, consuming everything in its path. The gang leader gets absolutely folded by the attack, sent ragdolling through the air. And he's not the only one, as the entire group of soldiers gets blown away like leaves in a hurricane. The system congratulates him for killing 88 people and awards 8,800 villain points, while Qin Feng notes he wasn't even planning a massacre today. He casually mentions that after this, the mighty tiger gang won't have many members left to speak of. With the battle over, they regroup with the rescued rabbit demon woman who's clearly been through a lot. She immediately bows and thanks the young master for saving her life. She explains that she came to the ruins seeking the blood Bodhi tree to cultivate her children's spiritual souls, but got captured while weakened from childbirth. She mentions she doesn't need many blood bodies, just 10 would be enough for her children. Qin Feng puts on his magnanimous face and says he can give her 10. Considering her motherly love. But then he drops the price tag of 10,000 high-quality spiritual stones per piece, and Ziwan nearly chokes. The rabbit woman's face falls as she admits she doesn't have any spiritual stones. Qin Feng suggests that if she doesn't have money, they can discuss other resources as payment. He immediately pulls out pen and paper like some kind of medieval loan shark, ready to take inventory. But when she reveals she has no resources either, Qin Feng is genuinely shocked and declares he's never seen anyone this poor in his entire life. They start walking together, and the woman hopefully asks if her benefactor is willing to give her some anyway. Qin Feng shuts that down immediately, telling her not to ask dumb questions if she doesn't have money. They settle down to rest, and that's when the rabbit woman reveals something absolutely precious. These are her kids, and they are the cutest little rabbit demons you've ever seen munching on berries. Ziwan immediately melts and starts petting one while cooing about how adorable it is. The rabbit mother offers to let Ziwan adopt one if she likes them that much. And wouldn't you know it, one of the baby rabbits has already attached itself to Ziwan like she's its new mom. But then the rabbit mother suddenly jumps up and bolts into the forest, leaving everyone confused. Ziwan asks Qin Feng what they should do now that they've apparently been adopted by a baby rabbit. The system chimes in with a helpful notification that this little guy is actually an epic-level demonic beast that needs to be fed natural treasures. Qin Feng's eye twitches as he realizes this little monster has the same rank as his younger brother and requires expensive food daily, which is why the poor mother was so desperate. Ziwan notices he's gone quiet and asks what's on his mind. Our boy decides they'll raise it regardless of whether she likes it or not, because an epic-level demonic beast is too valuable to pass up. Ziwan smiles softly and calls him tender and kind, completely missing that he's thinking purely about investment value. She suggests naming him Big Eater since he eats so much, and Qin Feng actually considers it. But Ziwan thinks that sounds terrible and suggests Little Rabbit instead, while Qin Feng stubbornly insists on Big Eater, and the argument goes back and forth. Ziwan finally suggests Xiaobai, meaning Little White, and this one actually seems promising. They compromise on Bai Fantong as the formal name and Xiaobai as the nickname, though Ziwan pouts that he never lets her have her way. Their bonding moment gets interrupted when a massive energy burst lights up the sky and someone announces they found Lin San with a jade box. Multiple cultivators are flying toward the commotion, and Qin Feng overhears them complaining about the Lin family trying to hoard everything. Qin Feng notices the Shiman family is here too, and Ziwan confirms she heard Lin San's name mentioned. Our boy decides they need to head over there too, and Ziwan agrees without hesitation. They arrive at a cave entrance where a confrontation is already brewing, with someone demanding Lin San get out of their way. So here's the situation at the cave entrance, where a mysterious man in black is offering a jade box to the so-called sword god successor. Our protagonist is watching this whole exchange and immediately something feels off about how nice this guy is being. Based on years of reading experience, if a chosen one gets his treasure stolen and stays calm about it, someone's definitely about to get wrecked. Kyunfeng decides to leave Lin San to his fate and drag Ziwan away from the scene because why get involved when chaos is about to unfold? Meanwhile, the Jimin family guy is talking major trash, mocking Lin San for calling himself a sword genius when he can't even break a simple spell. And to prove his family's superiority, he decides to demonstrate by smashing the spell protecting the jade box himself. His sword connects with the protective barrier, and the impact sends sparks flying everywhere. Lin San jumps in to help, because apparently his competitive spirit won't let someone else show him up. He throws everything he's got into breaking this barrier, determined to prove he's worthy of the Sword God title. And of course, once the big shots start fighting, everyone else wants a piece of the action too. The entire group converges on the jade box, pouring their combined power into breaking this barrier. But here's the problem. The spell isn't weakening, it's actually draining their cultivation instead, and now nobody can retreat. And then the whole thing erupts, blasting everyone away like they're nothing. Meanwhile, our protagonist and Ziwan are watching this disaster unfold from a safe distance, and yeah, that's terrifying. Kyunfeng had a feeling that mysterious guy was up to no good. And look at that, completely right as always. All those cultivators who jumped in are now scattered on the ground, groaning in pain and completely drained. And to make things worse, Lin San realizes the entire ruin is about to collapse on top of them. The seaman guy immediately starts screaming for everyone to get out before they're buried alive. But while everyone's panicking and running, that mysterious guy in black is just standing there completely unbothered, still holding the jade box. Turns out this was his plan all along, use everyone else to weaken the seal while he takes the prize for himself. And our protagonist sees this opportunity and thinks, you know what, I can work with this chaos. The system immediately starts chiming in with rewards for completing the villain mission, a gold treasure chest, and a whopping 1,000,000 villain points for looting the Chosen One's opportunity. The ruins continue to collapse as the cultivators scramble to escape the destruction. The shaman guy finally notices the mysterious man has the jade box and loses his mind, screaming about getting robbed. He orders his men to retrieve the jade box at any cost, because his pride absolutely cannot handle this loss. But the mysterious man just smirks as he secures his prize, clearly not worried about a bunch of exhausted cultivators. He pulls out a spatial teleportation talisman, because of course he came prepared with an escape plan. The teleportation magic activates around him, ready to whisk him away to safety with the treasure, and he has the absolute audacity to wave goodbye as the seaman guy charges at him in desperation. The sword slash cuts through nothing but sparkling light as the teleportation completes just in time. The shaman guy is absolutely seething, screaming that the teleportation won't take him far and to chase him down immediately. Our protagonist and Ziwan watch the whole angry mob take off in pursuit, leaving the area conveniently empty. Ziwan clings to Kinfeng, saying she's scared, though honestly the danger has mostly passed at this point. Some random cultivator left behind is calling them cowards for hiding, which is rich coming from someone too weak to join the chase. Ziwan immediately starts teasing Kinfeng, asking if he's scared of that little insult. They watch the pursuit disappear into the distance, creating a massive dust cloud. Kyunfeng decides it's time to follow the action because there might be more opportunities to exploit. Ziwan is completely confused about why they're suddenly chasing after danger instead of away from it. They take off after the pursuit, keeping a safe distance but close enough to see what happens. But Kinfeng is already thinking ahead, realizing the power gap between these experts means it's time to level up. The system chimes in with perfect timing, congratulating the host for opening the gold treasure chest and obtaining sword intent. And just like that, our protagonist instantly comprehends the sword intent that takes normal geniuses years to master. Ziwan suddenly senses an extremely powerful sword intent and warns that they might be in danger, while Kinfeng plays dumb. Ziwan tells Kinfeng to be careful, not realizing that the dangerous sword intent she's sensing is coming from him. Our protagonist thinks it's cute that the sword intent dares to threaten him, when he's the one who just mastered it. He channels his new power and blasts through the rock formations with pure sword energy, showing off just a little. Meanwhile, the mysterious man who escaped has found a nice quiet spot to finally open his prize and see what's inside. He opens the jade box with anticipation, ready to claim whatever legendary treasure was worth all that trouble. And the box is completely empty, his face going through about 5 stages of grief simultaneously. He's in complete denial, insisting there must be some hidden mechanism or secret compartment that he's missing. Ziwan asks Kinfeng if he actually comprehended sword intent, and he casually confirms it like it's no big deal. She explains that Lin San was called the #1 sword genius in 100 years specifically because he comprehended sword intent at age 12, which was a world record. Kinfeng asks if that's really all it takes to be called a genius, completely underwhelmed by the achievement. He says breaking that world record isn't a big deal, and Ziwan can only stare in disbelief at this absolute prodigy. The system offers to exchange 1,000,000 villain points for a guaranteed great completion card, and that's too good to pass up. Ziwan has no idea what Qin Feng is doing, since she can't see the system interface he's interacting with. The system confirms the transaction, and now Qin Feng is about to become even more ridiculously overpowered. His sword intent instantly reaches the great completion stage, and there's still one lucky draw chance remaining. The lucky draw pays off big time, granting the invincible sword heart, which sounds exactly as broken as you'd expect. The invincible sword heart is the ultimate form that sword practitioners spend their entire lives chasing, and it gives a 10 times damage multiplier. Ziwan notices something different about Qin Feng and thinks he somehow became more handsome just now. She starts questioning whether she's imagining things or if he really did change somehow. She asks what kind of cultivation technique he's been practicing that's making such a visible difference. Qin Feng makes up some nonsense about cultivating the heart of man, which totally isn't a thing but sounds impressive enough. After getting 2 consecutive sword technique buffs, our protagonist is itching to test out his new powers on someone. And just as he's looking for someone to practice on, Ziwan spots something approaching in the distance. So Ziwan's got something interesting to show our protagonist, and she pulls out what looks like a bamboo scroll, asking if he knows about the sage bamboo scroll. She explains that this thing was written by ancient sages and comes in 3 volumes called Heaven, Earth, and Humanity, and apparently only those with the right destiny can even see what's written on it. Every time this scroll appears in the world, it causes absolute chaos and bloodbaths, because everyone who's ever comprehended it became ridiculously famous and powerful. Our protagonist is obviously intrigued and asks to see it, because why wouldn't he want to check out something that legendary? He takes the scroll and opens it up with this cute little excited expression, clearly expecting to unlock some broken cultivation secrets. But here's the thing, our boy is completely baffled because he can't see anything on it, and he's insisting that with his intelligence and comprehension aura, Ziwan gently explains that the scroll isn't just about being smart, it's about destiny, like the destiny of Buddha himself, and our protagonist's response is absolutely peak villain energy as he just tosses the scroll aside, declaring that anything that doesn't work for him is rubbish. Meanwhile, Xiaobai, the adorable little rabbit companion, notices the discarded legendary artifact and has some thoughts about it, and this little creature just hops right onto the ancient sage's treasure like it's no big deal whatsoever. Qin Feng watches as Xiaobai uses the legendary scroll that causes bloodbaths across the land as a mattress, but then Ziwan suddenly realizes something and asks how he even got this scroll in the first place, and our boy internally panics because he's been caught. Before he has to explain himself though, they both hear someone in the distance yelling about Lin San and calling him a liar. Qin Feng's ears perk up at the name Lin San, the so-called #1 sword genius of 100 years, and our protagonist immediately takes off toward the commotion, because where there's drama, there's opportunity, with Ziwan calling out for her stingy brother to wait up. They arrive to find a standoff between Lin San's group and a bunch of angry cultivators, with someone desperately asking how many times he has to tell them to believe him. It's the mysterious man from before, and he's absolutely losing his mind, screaming that the jade box he stole was completely empty. Lin San's companions suggest they just show these guys what they're dealing with instead of wasting time talking. Lin San pulls out this gorgeous ornate sword and smugly tells everyone to take a good look at it. The 2 Seaman family members are just standing there absolutely confused about what's happening. And then Lin San demonstrates exactly why he's called a genius, unleashing a massive sword energy attack that has someone questioning if a mere spiritual martial realm cultivator dares challenge him. One of the Seaman guys manages to block, but he's absolutely furious, calling Lin San arrogant. But Lin San just hits him with that smug face, asking if they have any creativity because they always say the exact same thing. Now we've got the full picture from above, with Lin San's side facing off against the Seaman cultivators, and our protagonist has arrived at the perfect time to make things interesting. Qin Feng looks at all these potential targets and thinks this is the perfect opportunity to test out his newly upgraded sword abilities. And then our boy just casually releases his sword intent, and everyone immediately recognizes what it is. The Seaman cultivators are absolutely losing it because an 8-year-old just displayed sword intent, which is 4 whole years earlier than Lin San, who is considered the record holder. Ziwan and Lin San watch from the sidelines, with her thinking he's gotten even stronger after just a few days, and Lin San noting that this stingy brother really loves showing off. The main Seaman guy is stunned, trying to comprehend how someone in the transcendent realm could have this level of sword intent. And then it hits him, that's not just sword intent, it's also the invincible sword heart, which is supposed to be impossible. He starts backing away, questioning if this is really possible, wondering if this kid is actually just a child or something else entirely. But the younger Seaman brother refuses to show fear, mocking his older brother for being scared of some kid who just comprehended sword intent. This guy Erling decides to call out Qin Feng directly, asking if he's the traitor of the Qin family who survived by taking his brother's supreme bone. And Qin Feng just smiles and confirms it, then casually asks if this guy wants to fight him. Erlang's face twists into a menacing grin, saying that's exactly what he wants, while his companion in the background is already thinking they're doomed. Our protagonist takes a fighting stance with peak disrespect, offering to give the guy 10 free moves because he looks a little flushed. That absolutely sets Erlang off, demanding if Qin Feng is insulting him and swearing he'll make him regret it. Meanwhile, the smarter seamen members are already running for their lives, screaming for everyone to get out of there fast. Someone yells about being disappointed in their cowardly comrades, while Erlang declares he'll make the Qin brat taste his sword. Qin Feng flashes that signature villain smile and beckons them forward, promising he's not going anywhere. Erlang launches into a full rant about how Qin Feng thinks he's superior just because of his talent, swearing to take his head. Multiple cultivators charge at once, all thinking they can overwhelm an 8-year-old with numbers, but our protagonist just stands there completely calm with his sword drawn and that terrifying blue aura swirling around him. And in an instant, they're all getting absolutely destroyed, with the system cheerfully congratulating him for each kill and stacking up those villain points. Meanwhile, back at what looks like the Qin family headquarters, an elder and official are receiving some very interesting news about their young master killing the mighty Tiger Gang leader instantly. The official is trying to process how this is even possible, since that gang leader was at the 3rd level of the spiritual martial realm, concluding that Feng must have used the Supreme Bone's power. The elder expresses concern that if Feng becomes obsessed with power that isn't truly his, it could corrupt his path, but the official doesn't think that will happen. The elder has been teaching Feng for years and knows the boy has his own pride and won't be easily swayed by the Supreme Bone's temptation. The official asks if there's anything else to report, clearly expecting that to be the end of the surprises. But the messenger has more news, reporting that the young master didn't just wipe out the mighty Tiger Gang but also annihilated the Shimin family. The official nearly loses his composure at this news, while the elder has to tell him to sit down and calm himself. The elder asks for the full report, and the messenger reveals that the young master has also comprehended both the Supreme Sword intent, and the elder just bursts into ecstatic laughter, declaring that Feng's future is absolutely limitless, and this is excellent news. But the news has also reached the Imperial Palace, where a messenger rushes in declaring that something serious has happened. The Emperor of Great Xia looks up from his scrolls, asking why there's such haste in delivering this news. The messenger reports everything about Qin Feng, from killing a 3rd-level cultivator with 1 slash to obtaining both the sword heart and sword intent. But the Emperor is completely unimpressed, questioning what there is to fear from a prodigy who strayed from his family's protection. And with cold ruthlessness, the Emperor simply orders to have him killed. The messenger bows low, praising the Emperor's wisdom, and the execution order is officially given. Back with our protagonist, Lin San is watching from the shore as Qin Feng and Ziwan play in a pond, internally struggling with the fact that an 8-year-old has completely surpassed him in the way of the sword. And the system chimes in with beautiful news, congratulating Qin Feng for hitting the Chosen One's confidence and earning 100,000 villain points. Our protagonist is pleasantly surprised by this notification, wondering if he really just got 100,000 points for existing. Seeing an opportunity, Qin Feng cheerfully calls out to Lin San, complimenting his impressive swordsmanship and innocently asking if he could teach him some basic moves. And Lin San absolutely explodes, demanding to know if Qin Feng is mocking him since he's already mastered the invincible sword heart, but wants to learn basic moves. Our protagonist immediately plays the victim, running to Ziwan and complaining that Lin San is being mean to him when he genuinely only knows how to draw a sword. Lin San is absolutely fuming about the sword technique claim, and the system happily delivers another 100,000 villain points for destroying his confidence. And then Ziwan takes Qin Feng's side, scolding Lin San for being so mean to him when he's just a child. Those words hit Lin San like actual weapons, the phrase "just a child" piercing through his soul along with being scolded by his crush, and the system celebrates with yet another 100,000 points. And Qin Feng has this absolutely devious, satisfied smirk on his face, knowing exactly what he's doing to the poor guy. Lin San starts to leave and Qin Feng calls after him with fake encouragement, telling him not to be discouraged since he's still the #1 sword genius of 100 years. And then our boy delivers the killing blow, saying that he only comprehended those techniques while running away after passing gas, which is just peak disrespect. Lin San can't take it anymore and starts walking away while the system delivers another 100,000 villain points for the psychological damage. But Qin Feng isn't done milking this golden goose, calling out for brother Lin not to leave yet. Our protagonist actually starts chasing after him, saying he still wants to talk, which is genuinely terrifying from Lin San's perspective. Internally, Qin Feng is laughing at how he earned 400,000 villain points from just a few sentences and absolutely cannot let this cash cow escape. What follows is Lin San desperately screaming for him not to come any closer while Qin Feng enthusiastically chases after his new favorite target. But suddenly the chase is interrupted when everyone looks up to see figures descending from the sky on a flying cloud. And there's this imposing military commander in red and black armor, declaring that under the Emperor's orders, Zhang Reihu has come to take Qin Feng's head. The pressure from this guy is so intense that everyone on the ground physically reacts to the overwhelming aura. Lin San wants to know who this big shot is, and Qin Feng explains that he's the personal bodyguard of the Emperor. Lin San quickly assesses that this guy's cultivation is above both of them, plus he has thousands of iron-armored riders, meaning they're basically dead if they fight. Qin Feng starts to say he might have an idea, while internally he's thinking this is the perfect chance to make Ziwan fall for him. Then our protagonist puts on his most innocent face and asks the commander who exactly he's looking for, playing dumb. Zhang Ruihu isn't playing games though, loudly declaring his full title and that he's here on the emperor's orders to take Qin Feng's head. And then Qin Feng hits everyone with the most manipulative request, asking if the uncle could please not kill brother Lin and sister Ziwan when he kills him. Both Lin San and Ziwan are absolutely stunned by what they're hearing from their stingy brother. Qin Feng tells Ziwan not to be afraid, that he'll protect her, and if he dies at least she'll be safe because the man only wants him. When Ziwan asks if he's willing to die for her, our protagonist doesn't hesitate to say he'd do anything for sister Ziwan. Then he walks forward with his arms spread wide, telling the uncle to just do it since he's only an 8-year-old child and should be easy to kill. Zhang Ruihu raises his sword overhead and tells the kid to prepare himself for death. Ziwan screams that she won't allow her stingy brother to die, her emotions reaching a breaking point. And that's when the sky literally explodes with power, a massive energy blast and lightning striking down toward the flying cloud. Qin Feng admits he took a gamble, but seeing what just happened, he knows his comfortable life is about to begin. Because descending from the heavens is a massive ice dragon, and riding on its head is someone absolutely breathtaking. And she is absolutely gorgeous. This woman in flowing red robes with curves that could end wars, arriving just in time to save our protagonist and looking like the most beautiful thing anyone has ever seen. Meanwhile, back at the Qin family estate, a messenger comes running in with some very urgent news. The spy reports that the emperor has sent Zhang Ruihu to assassinate Qin Feng at the border between the two dynasties, and the patriarch and ancestor react exactly how you'd expect when they hear their golden goose is about to get cooked. The patriarch immediately starts barking orders to mobilize the 13 high guards. Because if Qin Feng dies, all their plans go up in smoke, and nobody wants that. But back at the scene, the Moon Celestial has arrived on her absolutely massive ice turtle creature, and everyone is just staring in awe. She introduces herself as the Moon Celestial, one of the top 5 experts of the Yingyue dynasty, which is basically like saying she's a walking natural disaster. She spots the pink-haired girl and asks if she's the Yingyue dynasty's goddess, and the girl confirms it. And the Moon Celestial is absolutely thrilled, because apparently finding her niece out here is like hitting the jackpot. And look at her, absolutely stunning in those flowing red robes with cherry blossoms everywhere. Like the manhwa artist decided to make her impossibly beautiful and succeeded. Zhang Ruihu is not having it though, telling the Moon Celestial to know her place since this is Great Xia territory. But she just plays innocent, asking if it's really appropriate to threaten a weak woman like herself. And honestly, the audacity is immaculate. Zhang Ruihu doesn't appreciate the games and starts charging up an attack, about to tell her to leave. But the Moon Celestial casually tells him to back off, and the power radiating from her is genuinely terrifying. And with one hit, the leader of the Imperial Guard goes down while his men scream for their general. She tells him that in his next life he should be more courteous to weak women, which is the most devastating burn while simultaneously ending someone. And then she just blows a kiss like she didn't just one-shot the Emperor's personal bodyguard. The soldiers check on their general only to realize he's not breathing anymore, and they're completely in shock at the power gap. Meanwhile, Qin Feng sees his chance and tells Ziwan they need to go now while the going is good. But the Moon Celestial has other plans, snapping her fingers with power radiating from her hand. And just like that, Qin Feng and Ziwan find themselves floating in the air whether they like it or not. The Moon Celestial asks Ziwan where exactly she thinks she's going, with a look that says you're not escaping that easily. Qin Feng is completely confused about what any of this has to do with him, but Ziwan seems to know exactly who this is. The Moon Celestial beckons them over with a soft "come here," and honestly, who could refuse? Qin Feng and Ziwan are gently set down in front of her, and our boy is already calculating his next move. She asks them to explain what exactly is going on here, genuinely curious about the situation. Ziwan calls her aunt, confirming their family, while Qin Feng immediately thinks maybe he should switch his capture target to this goddess instead. The aunt starts scolding Ziwan for leaving home without a word and running off to the Great Xia dynasty to avoid her. But Ziwan quickly changes the subject, excitedly explaining that Qin Feng is only 8 years old, but has already comprehended both sword intent and the invincible heart. The Moon Celestial's interest is piqued immediately, asking if this is the Qin Feng with Emperor talent, who supposedly dug out his brother's supreme bones. And that's when our boy makes his move, asking the Moon Celestial if she believes in love at first sight, because of course he does. She laughs and asks if he even understands what love at first sight means at his age, accusing him of just being guided by appearance. He admits it completely, saying he's decided that when he grows up he'll marry her, which makes Ziwan absolutely furious that he only has eyes for her aunt. She comments that he's pretty confident for someone who isn't very big, and he responds that a man's confidence isn't based on height but on the shamelessness deep in his heart. And our protagonist has this absolutely smug expression because he knows exactly what he said and he meant every word. The Moon Celestial absolutely loves it, calling him a rascal but admitting she likes his style. Meanwhile, poor Ziwan is just standing there watching her crush flirt with her aunt, and the expression says it all. But their little moment gets interrupted when soldiers on a flying cloud approach their position. And who should show up but Qin Feng's father, sending a telepathic message saying he's here to save his son and will pretend to be threatening. Qin Feng is internally annoyed, thinking his dad shows up now when there's a rich, powerful woman right in front of him. So he immediately hides behind the Moon Celestial, claiming the Qin family is here to kill him, and he's absolutely terrified. His father receives a notification that his message was rejected, and the confusion on his face is genuinely hilarious. The Qin elder steps forward with fake pleasantries, claiming Qin Feng has mistreated clan members and asking the Moon Celestial to hand him over. But Ziwan steps up with fire in her eyes, declaring that if they want to fight, they can fight. But Qin Feng belongs to her. And everyone, including the Moon Celestial, the Elder, and Qin Feng's father, just stares in complete shock at her declaration. Ziwan doubles down, telling them they better go back the way they came if they know what's good for them. She looks to her aunt for support, and the Moon Celestial is genuinely impressed by how bold this girl has become. The Moon Celestial thinks it through, realizing that forcing Ziwan to leave would create inner demons in her cultivation path. So she turns to the Elder and asks what happens if she says no to his request. The Elder's aura turns dark as he threatens not to show her the courtesy of a host if she refuses. But she just smiles and tells him that he alone won't be able to stop her, radiating absolute confidence. And with that, the giant turtle creature starts moving toward a massive portal that opens up in the sky. The Moon Celestial casually says, "See you later," as they head through the portal, leaving the Qin family behind. But Qin Feng's father decides to act, charging up a fire attack and telling the Moon Celestial not to be so arrogant. And the Elder immediately smacks him on the head, calling him an unfilial child for nearly ruining everything. The father is completely confused, asking what he did wrong this time while nursing his head. The Elder explains that it's wonderful Qin Feng gets to enter the Moon Celestial Palace, but the father complains that she looks down on them. The Elder scolds him for being superficial, saying lack of patience leads to chaos and grand plans, and smacks him again. They discuss their predicament since the Qin family and palace are watching, and the Elder says he has a plan. The Elder suddenly launches a massive golden energy ball toward the portal while the father questions if this is really for Qin Feng's own good. The energy blast rockets toward its target, and it becomes clear this is part of the Elder's elaborate scheme. The attack collides with something, creating a spectacular explosion of power. The turtle creature's shell is shown in detail as it continues through the portal, completely unfazed. The Elder starts yelling that Qin Feng used stimulants to corrupt their Dao hearts, putting on a performance for the watching soldiers. The soldiers panic, realizing that stimulants scattered in the forest will drive the beasts crazy and there'll be fish meat on the chopping board. Everyone immediately scatters, running in different directions and being told not to form pairs, which is absolute chaos. The father questions whether the ancestor is serious about the stimulant thing, and the Elder casually confirms it while they escape. And now we arrive at the Yin Yue dynasty's Moon Celestial Palace, which looks like something straight out of a fairy tale. Inside, servants bow and greet the Moon Celestial as she walks in with Qin Feng and Ziwan. And our boy notices something important. He's completely surrounded by gorgeous women servants, and he's covering his eyes trying not to look at anything inappropriate. But then he accidentally ends up face first in a situation that would make anyone's brain malfunction, and the view is absolutely blessed. And our protagonist gets a massive nosebleed while cursing the author for testing him like this, which is honestly the perfect way to end this episode.